Section 3 of Chapter 4 is going to deal with land biomes. Now, a biome is a particular environment that contains a characteristic assemblage of plants and animals. So what that means is that the plants and animals that live in that area are so specific and in ways unique that we define that area, that section of land, by those plants and animals. Now, a microclimate is a climate within a small area that differs significantly from the climate around it. And you're usually going to see those in high altitude situations. So if you have maybe a warmer climate with a mountain in it, that high altitude is going to have a difference than the rest of the area around it. So a little microclimate right in the middle there. Now, we're going to go over each of these biomes, but today this lecture is going to go over the tropical rainforest, tropical dry forest, tropical savanna, and desert. Now, each biome is going to be defined by a unique set of abiotic factors, particularly climate, and has a characteristic ecological community. So we have abiotic factors, which are non-living, and we have biotic factors, which are living, which are really going to help define the biome that we're discussing. So if we look at this map here of the biomes, right, we see that really along the equator, we see the tropical rainforest, don't we? We see that that darker green runs along the tropical rainforest runs right along the equator, with tropical dry forests flanking it on either side, and then we see deserts and tropical savannas outside of it. Now, if you notice, you can almost draw a straight line across and see where the deserts are, see where the tropical rainforests are, tropical dry forests are. If you look at the top, the purple is a straight line across. You could see the taiga or boreal forest is a straight line across. You see the light purple, which is where we are, is a temperate deciduous forest straight across. Now, that blue spot in the central United States is not obviously ocean. Some reason this image that I've taken has the temperate grassland down in Antarctica. If you notice that temperate grassland would fit perfectly in there, so there must have been, the image from the textbook must have gotten edited improperly. But you can see that tropical grassland would run right across the center. So let's start with tropical rainforest. Hot and wet year-round. Thin, nutrient-poor soils. Now you think there's so many plants living there. How is the soil nutrient-poor? And the reason is because all of those nutrients are contained within the plants. Right? The plants have taken up those nutrients and they're all living. There's not really a lot of recycling going on there. The biotic factors have all of the nutrients living in them. You're going to have a lot of broadleaf evergreen trees, ferns, large woody vines. They don't lose their leaves. Right? You're going to have herbivores such as sloths and tapirs. You're going to have jaguars, anteaters, monkeys, toucans, and parrots are going to be pretty characteristic of it. Right? And like we said before, the geographic distribution will be parts of South and Central America, Southeast Asia, parts of Africa, Southern India, and Northeastern Australia. So what I want you to do for this is I would like you to copy all these characteristics. I know it is a lot, but that's why I've split it up into a few today and a few tomorrow. Okay. Now if we take a look, here's a picture of the tropical rainforest. Now notice the average precipitation for each month is very high. And you'll see that when we start to compare in terms of what other areas get in terms of precipitation. But especially in the rainy season, they get a lot of precipitation. And notice there really isn't a change in temperature. Remember we talked about four-season. We have a four-season climate here. We're not really going to have a four-season climate there, are we? There's a very, very, very slight change in temperature, but that's it. The tropical dry forest is generally warm year-round, alternating wet and dry seasons, rich soils subject to erosion. All right, you're going to have tall deciduous trees, so that's going to be a difference. You're going to have trees that lose their leaves, that form a dense canopy in the wet season, and then you're going to have drought-tolerant orchids that for the dry season. This is where you're going to find tigers and monkeys and herbivores, such as elephants, rhinoceros, all right? Termites, reptiles like snakes, monitor lizards. This is really going to be places like India. You're going to think of, if you think of in terms of how Disney portrays it, the Jungle Book. would be a tropical dry forest. Okay, so if you think of how the Jungle Book was, that's what you're going to have, a tropical dry forest with the tigers and the lions, things like that. You're going to find this in Africa, South and Central America, Mexico, India, Australia, and tropical islands. So take a look right here. Here's a picture of the tropical dry forest. Obviously, there's the tiger and a macaw. And then look at the rain distribution, the purple bar graph. Notice that they get a significant amount of rain for part of the year and a very, very small amount for other parts of the year, the dry season. But again, the temperature is not going to vary that drastically. Tropical savanna, warm temperatures, seasonal rainfall, compact soil, frequent fires set by lightning. You're going to have tall perennial grasses and shrubs, drought-resistant or drought-tolerant and fire-resistant trees or shrubs. You're going to have lions, leopards, cheetahs, hyenas, jackals, right? Giraffes, antelope, zebras. All right. This you're going to find this in large parts of eastern Africa, southern Brazil, and northern Australia. So this is really, if we look at the picture here, going to be what we think of when we think of things like The Lion King. Right? Disney has a diverse catalog of biomes that they've incorporated into their movies. But this is what we look at: the savanna, the plains. Okay. Notice that they do have a decent amount of rainfall for part of the year. They have a very wet season, and they do have a very dry season for part of the year. And then obviously you have a very mild temperature change throughout the year. If we look here at the desert, this is going to be the last one we do today. Low precipitation, variable temperatures, soils rich in minerals but poor in organic material. All right, you're not going to have a lot of plants growing in the desert. You're going to have your cacti and other succulents. You're going to have plants with short growth cycles that are really able to survive in situations of very, very low water. The dominant wildlife are going to be predators such as mountain lions. Right, you're going to have foxes, bobcats, mule deer, antelope. Right, you're going to have hawks, roadrunners. Right, ants, beetles, butterflies, wasps, tortoises, rattlesnakes, lizards, and you're going to find this all over. You're going to find it in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, the United States, Mexico, South America, and Australia. So if we look at our picture here of the desert, we see that there is a variance in temperature. So the desert will vary in temperature. However, look how low the rainfall is. Right? Some months you see the bar graph has nothing. Okay? So you really are going to have a very, very, very small amount of rain occurring in the desert.